Welcome to the Tripp Memorial Library. Building, covered with ivy, is listed in the National Historic Register of Places. In 1912, J.S. Tripp, a local banker and lawyer, donated $10,000 for the village and library. Purchased the land north of the building for $275, soon after the library building was erected. They wanted to preserve a spot of green in the middle of the business district. They raised the money through bake sales and ice cream socials. Through the years, we've had many events in this lawn, including band concerts and more ice cream socials. Inside the building, the second floor contains a smaller room called the Walter D. Dole Room, which contains local history. The larger room is a museum which houses a collection of stuffed birds and animals. Now come with me to the museum and the stuffed animals. In 1934, the Prairie du Sac Village Board gratefully accepted the generous offer of Dr. Ben Ochsner, a distinguished former resident of the village, and of his brother Ed Ochsner, a taxidermist of statewide reputation, of an outright gift to the public library of the fine collection of mounted birds and animals, about 1,000 in all. We also use this large room for special programs sponsored by the library. And now Doris Litchergasser will tell us about the Walter Dole Room.
Welcome to the Walter Dole Room. This room houses items and articles of historical interest. While the collection was actually begun by Walter Dole himself when he was clerk here in this room for the village of Prairie du Sac, during our recent centennial, we had a stepped up interest in it and collected more and more items. We're now in the process of collecting and organizing items of interest, and your contributions are welcome. If you have a family history, and most of us do, we'd be happy to add it to the collection. Many of you remember Walter Dole himself, who was, I would say, a very popular history teacher for many years in Prairie du Sac in the high school. Walter Dole had his own kind of humor and his own kind of dignity, as you will remember. Now, this collection of articles was never published during his lifetime, and for that matter, for the life of his wife, Laura, either. It was just a massive collection of things. And then one day, something exciting happened. A committee was formed through the encouragement of Joann Bacon, the librarian. The chairman of the committee was Leah Gruber. Leah was designated by Mrs. Laura Dole as a person whom she wanted to edit the materials. Then, also in the committee, was Edward Gruber, her husband, of course. And then there was John Gruber, their son, who is now at the University of Wisconsin in publishing, and he donated generously of his time and talent. And then there was Janice Bender, who was a key person in getting the job done, and myself, Doris Litchergasser. What job was it? Getting the material organized and published. What were the results? Well, here it is. Historical Sketches of Prairie du Sac by Walter Dole. And you'll want a copy, so you can walk back into the history of Prairie du Sac and enjoy yourself. Thank you for coming to the Walter Dole Room.
Circulation desk. the place where patrons check out books and materials. Through the years, the librarians who have worked behind this desk include Ruth Hutchins, the first librarian, who was appointed in 1901 at a salary of 10 cents an hour. The library was open every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, afternoons, and even evenings. The other librarians through the years include Vivian Reynolds, Stella Carpenter-Akla, Nellie Wakely, Louise Bailey, Alice Groff, and I am Joann Bacon, and I am librarian presently. The Alice Groff and Louise Bailey were both at the job for 30 years apiece. The people who work at the library today with me are Ruth Hart, who is the assistant librarian, June Beebe, an aide, and Hazel Bolts, who does the cataloging and mending. And here is Hazel.
Ready now? Well, this is my corner of the library. This is where the books are cataloged and processed for circulation. This is how we get them. I type pockets, book cards, and put a plastic cover on them, plastic jacket. And I also do the library cards, reader cards.
The base of this large room is the fireplace. It has been the scene of many pleasant gatherings and book talks, and when we use the fireplace, our biggest friend of the library, Edward Gruber, comes down with the wood and piles it up and lights the fire and just sets the whole atmosphere for our parties and programs. On the mantle, we have silver candlesticks that the Grubers brought from one of their many trips overseas. And the center of the room is our benefactor, Mr. Tripp. And this is the vase that was found in the Tripp home. Looking around the room, I see the display case for special books. We now have a display of books that we received funding from the Sauk County Bar Association, and the matching funds came from the National Endowment for the Humanities, and they're books about the Constitution, which is pretty relevant right now since we're celebrating the bicentennial this year. Areas. To my right we have the adult fiction, and to my left we have the adult nonfiction. This is a special area for biographies, and over here we have all the new books. This is the most popular area of the library. We have adult fiction and nonfiction. So come with me to the reference section. And this is the reference corner of the library. Here we have big dictionary, encyclopedias, even a globe. Lots of valuable tools for students as well as adults. The focal point of this area is a beautiful nature print. It's Canadian geese, and it was donated by Dr. Donald Kinchy. We even have art prints. They can be checked out by patrons for periods of 1 month. And in this area of the library we have our bulletin boards. Our artist in residence, Doris Litcher-Gasser, provides monthly paintings, and this month we are displaying paintings about the bicentennial of the Constitution. Very relevant.
The Historical Society has collected exciting things, like little doll carriages, toys, dolls in an old rocking chair. An old Wisconsin boat that the kids used to ride on. I don't think this is the Ellen Hardy. It only cost a nickel to ride on that. And a homespun bathroom commode. There were also beautiful pieces of handiwork. And an old typewriter for you secretaries to look at. And hats, and hats, and hats. Ladies' fashionable hats, the Allan Hardy ticket agent, the military hat. And there are cameras, old-fashioned cameras for you camera bugs to study. And there are old books. Prairie du Sac is a highly educated community. Old plates, old pictures. Now you'll want to come and study this beautiful collection by yourselves. And perhaps you have something to contribute. And perhaps you can help in the research of some of the materials to help us better understand the history of our community. And welcome to join the Historical Society.
Arla, can I help somebody? Oh, that's fine. Come on up and see what... All right. Oh, what a nice horse. Yes, that's very nice. Would you like to play with it? Okay. All right. Can I have someone else? Hi, JB.
I was wondering if you had a book on dogs.
Oh, yes, we do. Will you look right over there in that section? I'm sure you'll find some there.
Do you have any horse books?
Oh, yes. I think if you go over to the nonfiction there, behind the beanbag, you'll find some.
Thank you. Can I look at the Anastasia books?
Oh, you'll have to find those over in that section under the windows.
Can I look at the projector?
Oh, yes, of course. Come on. And maybe somebody else would like to join you. Would you like to come too? I should. All right. I think it's on now. Okay.
No.
There you are. Well, we have many things here at the Children's Library. We have a very fine selection of books, and Joann, our librarian, is always ordering new ones so that we get the best books, and we get Caldecott and Newbery Medal Award books as well as others. We have a fine collection of records over there that are checked out for a week at a time. They contain children's stories and music and games. We also have 3 sets of children's encyclopedias that children can consult, as well as a biography section where famous people are told about. We have toys that can be checked out for 2 weeks at a time, like the very sturdy truck that you see on top of the stack there. The children's catalog tells us where to find books and who wrote them. In fact, we have a wonderful library. Out of this library, the Children's Story Hour has grown, and somebody else will be telling about that at a later time. It is one of the highlights, I think, of our library work here. We feel that if children start to read when they're young, they will continue and be reading adults as well. It was awfully nice to have you here, and hope you'll come again. Bye.
Now then, after you have it folded back,
then you turn it inside. And you have to play with it. It doesn't, this is like anything else. When you play the piano or when you sing a song, you have to practice. So just play around with it. This part has to be folded back in like this. So you might have to take it apart and do that till you get it to look like this. Now, okay. See, okay, now you remember, when you get home you can take it apart and play with it some more. Now, okay, then this has to be folded back in like this.
Okay, now he meets a Saint Bernard. You know the dogs that always rescue people in the mountains? Those great big dogs. They carry that thing over their neck. But he's going to go, on a mountain so high, came a Saint Bernard interrupting his cry. Rumble, 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 rumble. Rumble, 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 rumble. Is the origami done? That's already. Okay, so just shape. Okay, now put these on. Get some shapes. How do you get double? So you get double. Go on. Stop. Okay, now give it to him. Go. Stop. Nope. Turn. Keep going. Come on. You don't want to let him get it all the way open. Stop. Give it to her.
It's a ball it opens out.
Okay, you keep shaking. Now, or who was turn? Yeah, it was his. Go. Shake. Now you shake. Stop. Give it to him. Okay, now you shake. Who hit it on? Yeah. Can you get all this on?
Put it on.
Hey, you keep shaking. Megan?
Here, Katie. I always just eat up my brother. Oh, I cleaned it up. Hey.
Oh no, this was the door to a poor and shabby little house. So poor and shabby that it was almost tumbling down. Goose, little black cat, woolly lamb and cow. In the window, an old woman sat by a weak little fire. And as she sat, she talked to herself. Oh, how sad I am. I am all alone. If only I had a hen or a goose to lay eggs, what a good omelet I could make for my supper. If only I had a lamb to give me wool, what a nice warm sweater I could knit. And oh, if I only had a cow, I could have a cup of milk before I went to bed. And if only I had a little cat or dog, I would have a friend to talk to. And then how happy I would be. Ow! Howled the old wolf. said Goose, and Goose and Little Black Cat and Woolly Lamb and the cow all ran into the old woman's little house. And wasn't she surprised to see? And suddenly, Goose didn't have a headache anymore. She laid an egg. And Cow gave milk. And the old woman patted Woolly Lamb, and she put Little Black Cat something sweet. And led the his name was Aiken Drum, and he played upon a ladle, a ladle, a ladle. He played upon a ladle. His name was Aiken Drum. Now, first of all, does anybody know what a ladle is? It's kind of like a big spoon. Spoon that you use for
Water.
soup and stuff, huh? A ladle. And I think this is what he did. I think he played like this on it, like a little guitar, don't you? Is that what he did? Okay. All right, so there's his ladle. Now, who wants to start out and find out what his head was made of? See who can find it there. His head was made of Swiss cheese, of Swiss cheese, of Swiss cheese. His head was made of Swiss cheese. His name was Aiken Drum. Who can get the Swiss cheese for me? Can you bring it over here, Alana? Okay, we're going to put his Swiss cheese head there. And he played upon a ladle, a ladle, a ladle. He played upon a ladle. His name was Aiken Drum. Now I'm going to sing the next one.
No. Oh, here. Okay. I think the grandma one is the best.
I don't care. Just
Well, can you
set
pick it
up.
up? Can you pick it up?
Grandchildren never listen. I knew
No.
that.
You ask him if he would.
Well,
Just
this is for you, and now we can say more. Boy, you do wonderful things up there.
We try.
And the book, too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, I just can't wait. I know what I'll do next. I want to go to sleep. I'll read. You can read your book. I'll read my book.
You're going to read that and learn what to say to your grandchildren.
No. So, it's very nice.
Well,
I don't know what. I came in. I was starting. And it was one of my. Joann gave it to me.
in accordance with what Joanna said, Jean is getting the Trustee of the Year award. Congratulations. Oh, yeah, it does seem like it.
We do, really.
Well, I do believe that's what we're all in this for.
Well, sure.
Get it right, huh?
One more time, you're right. I'll call the meeting to order. You've read the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any additions or corrections?
Oh, one thing I saw, Laura Land.
Oh, all
Laura
right, Lang, all right.
Oh, by the way, excuse me, but I've got lots of envelopes addressed to the Friends group. Should I give them to someone from the government? From the federal government?
I think we should give them to Laura or I think.
Yeah.
Why don't, would you mind calling Joanna?
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad Sarah brought you too. And here's a little certificate for you. You can take it to your room. Orly Bonham, we have a little certificate for you because you're still providing entertainment for us. You're still providing entertainment for us in Prairie du Sac in the Bonham Theater. You know they still keep your name.
Hey, I got pictures of that.
Oh.
Band we used to have.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Maybe we could get a copy of that. That's interesting. He had Cecil Raggett. I was talking to Cecil the other day, and he remembers that. About 30 years ago, this group of present and former Sauk Prairie residents, when was this published?
1953.
About 30 years before that, too.
And we'll pass it around. About 30 years ago, this group of present and former Sauk Prairie residents comprised a clown band that appeared at a harvest picnic at Prairie du Sac. They were the hit of the day, parading in single file through all the alleys in Prairie du Sac and serenading the natives at 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh boy. Later they played in more respectable places in the village, such as Main Street and Marion Park, where the large celebration was held. Front row left to right, Cecil Raggett, Allan Bacon, Dr. R.A. Schlag, deceased Ghibli Gibson, Dr. H.W. Schallenberger, you remember him, a lot of you. Second row left to right, Howard Baldwin, Mike Marshall, Edward Zick, George Clark, deceased, Chris Raggett, deceased, Frank Little, and Ray Block. That is interesting. Let's pass it around, okay? Sure. Do you want to, which way should we go? Why don't we start here? That's interesting. I wish we had one for the library. That would be nice, wouldn't it? That's very interesting. Because Cecil was telling me, too, about that. He was real tickled about it, but Cecil hasn't been quite up to par to make a tape recording yet.
He won't be here today.
Well, I was hoping that, but he hasn't been feeling well, and his wife is... Oh, yeah. Well, did you want to introduce her?
She doesn't.
Oh,
It's
all right.
she is the daughter of one of the families in my it's Irma Primo's daughter, Bacon. I'm going to wing it today. As long as we have so many brains here, I think I better read a little bit something to add a little dignity to what I have to say. This is taken from the last August Derleth newsletter, and it is written in praise of Norbert Bly. Norbert Bly was my teacher at the clearing, and so I'm very much interested in it, and it tells a little bit about why I write what I do. Norbert Bly is more than a faithful, long-term member of the August Derleth Society. He is our hope that the Derleth tradition of writing about small matters and quiet places will not die. Our lives, your and mine, are burdened daily with a barrage of information about issues of such weight and magnitude that we are made to feel small and insignificant. The newspapers, the nightly news on radio and television weigh us down with announcements of murder, mayhem, threats of nuclear war, holy war, the threats of economic collapse, the destruction of the ozone layer, fire, famine, plague, imminent disaster, and the breakup of society at every turn. And yet, where can we turn for relief? The quiet places, and the small day-to-day concerns which are life for most of us are overshadowed by Tusanoma beyond our control. Quiet places to which we might escape become fewer with each passing year. The pressure to succeed, to get by, to survive becomes so intense that we find too late that we have ignored the small bits and pieces, the tasty morsels of life. And this is what I'm writing about. It's the small, insignificant things of life. Last night I was to Baraboo to see The King and I enjoyed it very much. It was just excellent. But I couldn't help but think that many of our families, of which I have written about in this book, could make equally good stories. No, they weren't kings and queens, but they were wonderful people. One question, and I'm going to give you a chance to ask questions. One question I'm frequently asked is, what is this book about? Which is a clear indication to me that they haven't read the other books. Because they know I'm writing about the people of Sumter. I got a little bit ahead of myself. I want to thank Joann for asking me. I tried to turn her down. She wouldn't take no. And I said there wouldn't be anybody here. And I do appreciate it. She's had a coming out party for each of my books. So I think that's pretty wonderful when the local library recognizes the insignificant efforts of some of their farmer authors. I also want to thank Doris, wherever she is, for sharing her audience with me. I think we wouldn't have here such a large crowd if it hadn't been your efforts. This one is for every something.
Yeah. You want to? That's your first book.
No, that's the fourth. It's only, also, always, and it's forever.
Yeah. How about you? They're all, have another one. Isn't that cute, Doris? It's her idea to get the Doris.
Who is an unequaled, gracious hostess. She served guests and Tripp Memorial throughout the years in a spirit of congeniality. We are especially pleased to have Alice Groff back with us at this celebration. Alice has worked at Tripp Memorial for many years and has contributed generously in giving books and materials to the library. Let us join the group in celebration.
Leah, I'm delighted to be here today, and may I say that's a beautiful color on your phone.
Would you like a cup of coffee, Janice? Leah can pour a little into the cup. There we go.
Nicely done.
Would you like cream, sugar?
Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful.
Alice, we're so happy to have you join us today.
Well, I'm just overcome. It's so wonderful to be here.
How good it is.
Yes, yes. Oh, yes.
And Mrs. Bars, our patron with the #1 library card. Isn't that
Thank
neat?
you, Leah. From the #1 library card to Leah.
That's nicely done.
Leah, the #1 friend. And Lorraine.
We're so glad to be able to honor you, Leah. What a beautiful silver set.
That tray was given to Leah by the Sauk City Library Board for many years of service in cataloging the Sauk City Library for free.
She deserves many awards for her service.
I think that's right.
It is right.
It definitely is. Dorothy, can I give you a coffee?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, it's so good to see all of you folks here. It's just wonderful. Just wonderful.
Leah, I'm so happy to be here to honor you, and you've always been such a wonderful neighbor to you and Edward.
I think we should shake hands too.
I think so.
Just a general
Leah,
principle.
I thank you
Really.
for many years of service you've done here, not only this library, but
I
our
know
church
I did
library.
what it means
God bless.
to get in here after so many years to be in here today. Yes, because after my sister passed away, I could stay at home. The library became my second home. And so it's wonderful to be here today.
We're honored with your being here today, too. Coming back home.
I'll drink to that.
Sure, you can have a cookie.
I know they're kind of,
You tell, that $90 meal is up.
Leah, thank you, can't get
Leah Gruber, with the support of her husband Edward, is an all-around citizen who contributed in many aspects to the enrichment of the lives of individuals and the betterment of the community. Leah, who was the daughter of Captain and Mrs. John Deal, graduated from high school in the Philippines and got her bachelor's degree in library science and English from the University of Wisconsin. She was employed in the Municipal Library of Fond du Lac and the Wisconsin Legislative Reference Library. Leah came to Prairie du Sac September 1939 from Chicago, when her husband Edward purchased a furniture store here. Leah and Edward live in a charming colonial-style home, which they built on Holly Court. They have 2 children, Mary Lee Olson, a minister on the staff of Union Theology Seminary, Dayton, Ohio, and John, who is with the University of Wisconsin News Service. The Grubers enjoy their 5 grandchildren. Leah Gruber served on the Prairie du Sac School Board and the Sauk Prairie School Board for 13 years. She is a former president of the Sauk Prairie Memorial Hospital Auxiliary. She helped establish the Sauk Prairie branch of the American Association of University Women and became a charter member. She served on the advisory board of the University of Wisconsin campus at Baraboo from 1968 to 1973. But at this time, we direct our thoughts to Leah's contributions to library. Leah has been a member of the Prairie du Sac Library Board since 1940 and has been the president of the board most of that time. She was a member of the Sauk County Library Board and president for many years. She was on the board which organized the South Central Library System. While she served on these boards with sophistication, intelligence, and dignity, Leah worked with humble dedication and cataloged books in the Prairie du Sac Library, the Sauk City Library, the Middle School Library at the time of the consolidation of the school district, the Catholic Church Library, and the United Methodist Concordia Church Library, which she also organized. Wisconsin Trustee of the Year, 1968, presented to Leah Gruber. Wisconsin Trustee of the Year, 1976, presented to Leah Gruber. Leah was the only woman in Wisconsin who was Trustee of the Year twice. The story of Leah wouldn't be complete without mentioning that she was a devout member of the United Methodist Church, a Republican with an open mind, a superb bridge player, and a worldwide traveler, along with her husband Edward. Indeed, we are happy to gather together today to honor our friend Leah Gruber, a truly meritorious person.
Amen.
Here's to Leah.
It says lots of snowflakes.
Lots of snowflakes.
And that's
Sean, do you want to go see?
each one is good looking. Here comes Jean.
Doris. Here comes Jean. Jean, Doris needs a little more help. Oh, great.
I need it right now,
thank
Jean.
Say, you know what?
What?
You know what, Sean?
Do you think
Would you
that's
like
all
a
right
cookie?
like this?
You can have a cookie if you'll go over by Jean, Mrs.
Come on.
Naylor. Okay, that'll do it.
Okay.
Hey, and I'm going to get you a cookie and I'll bring it right over to you. How about that? Mrs. Nagler brought you a gingerbread guy. What do you say? Mrs. Nagler.
like those.
What did you say?
Oh, you're welcome, John. I love.
Boy, that really looks nice. 75 years old today, but Grandma isn't 75 years old today. Okay, Brian, shut it up. Sean, let's take the... Okay, you ready?
Help you with? Would you like cider?
All right. What a beautiful display of cookies you guys made. Gorgeous. You know, people are...
Okay,
this
help
one.
yourself. Oh, good. Florence, Carol, and come on.
Okay, you walk. Guess what? You're on candid camera.
Come on, Carol. Florence. Why don't we just wait?
Carol's is, I think, everybody's running.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Tea, cider, or coffee?
Oh, sure.
Hello, Florence.
Happy 70. Just happy 75th.
Okay.
It's okay.
Happy
75th. Happy 75th.
Is it on? Sound on? There she is, Nancy's.
Nancy's waving.
Is sound on?